Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're reacting to Michael Jordan if he retired only once. I'm guessing this means he retiring after like the Wizards run, or like maybe he retired in 98, but he played those 2 years he skipped out on baseball. I'm curious though what Johnny Arnett thinks would have happened if Michael Jordan didn't retire one, two, three times in his career. So let's hop into this, man. If you're new around here, I'm finally doing a deep dive into Michael Jordan's career for the first time in my NBA life. Started watching in 2010. Big fan of Braun, big fan of Kobe, big fan of all the current day players not named Kevin Durant or Steph Curry because, you know, rivalries. But yeah, dude, we're going to hop into this. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I want to learn what Michael Jordan would have done if he didn't retire. Theoretically.
Michael Jordan is widely recognized as the greatest icon in basketball history.
Facts.
Naturally, surrounding his legacy is a series of major what-ifs. One of the biggest reasons for this is not because of his popularity alone, but it's because he did something that very few players ever do. He retired from the game of basketball on 3 separate occasions. Due to this, people are left to wonder, would Michael Jordan's Bulls have won 8 straight championships if he never retired in 1993 to go play baseball? People wonder if MJ could have defeated the San Antonio Spurs in the 1999 finals. And lastly, people assume that Michael Jordan would be the NBA's all-time scoring leader if he never took all of those breaks.
Fair point.
But just how accurate are some of those assumptions? Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, and there's no way we can say for certain how things would have gone. But with that being said, we do have a lot of information and data that can lead us to make some educated guesses on how this all would have panned out. So sit back and enjoy as I break down what history could have looked like if Michael Jordan only retired from the game of basketball just once.
I love what ifs, dude. If y'all know about some good
First
what
off,
ifs, if you know about some good what ifs, let me know in the comments.
Michael Jordan entered the NBA at the age of 21 in 1984, and he didn't leave the game for the final time until he was 40 years old in 2003. So in this scenario, this will be the length of his completed career, which will be a grand total of 19 seasons in the NBA. Now let's start by looking at his first retirement in 1993. MJ's Bulls were coming off of their 3rd straight championship victory, and surrounding that 3rd run was controversy about Jordan's gambling habits. And then that was soon followed up by the tragic passing of his father. MJ talked about the fact that he was physically and mentally tired. And
Is he implying that the gambling had to do with his father's murder? Because I haven't heard that one before, but let me know in the comments if there was any tie there or if these are 2 separate events.
in honor of his father, he decided to pursue another dream, and that was to play baseball. If he didn't make that decision, then he likely would have been a part of the deepest Bulls roster that they've ever had, as the organization added quality pieces like Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, and Luke Longley, while keeping all of their starters from the previous three-peat. Despite insane seasonal averages, Jordan only finished 3rd in the MVP race in the 1993 season, and a lot of people believe that this was a result of voter fatigue, since MJ had won the 2 MVP awards prior to that.
Voter fatigue is so dumb, dude. Give people the MVP if they deserve it.
In reality, the 93-94 Chicago Bulls won 55 regular season games without Michael Jordan. Now with him in the lineup, I think it's fair to assume that they're winning at least 65 games. And with Jordan coming off of a season where he was held back by voter fatigue, I think he would have easily won the League MVP award in 1994. The 1994 NBA Finals would have been a colossal battle between Jordan's Bulls and Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets.
Oh, it would have been so cool.
Although Hakeem was a difficult matchup for the Bulls, I still think Chicago easily prevails in this scenario, since it's the deepest team that they've ever had, and that Rockets team went to 7 hard-fought games with the New York Knicks.
That's
and
fair.
this hypothetical Bulls team would have been way more formidable than those Knicks.
That's true.
So as things stand in this what-if scenario so far, Jordan would have won an additional League MVP award, an additional championship, and an additional Finals MVP award. So now let's look at the 94-95 season. In reality, you all remember how this was the season where Jordan came back to the NBA after a stint in baseball, where he only played in 17 games of the NBA's regular season. Although Jordan was still lethal, he was not performing up to his usual standards, since he was still in his baseball shape. Now with a full season where he never left the game of basketball, Jordan is almost certainly performing at a higher level throughout.
I mean, sure.
With that being said, this still would have been a tougher season on Chicago, because the general wear and tear of 4 straight seasons playing into June would have been taking its toll physically.
Agreed.
Plus, this was the season where Horace Grant left in free agency to join the Orlando Magic. If we assume that Grant still leaves in free agency for that massive Orlando contract, then the Bulls are now lacking his inside production on the offensive end, and they're also lacking his interior defense on the other end. I broke this all down in detail in a previous video, but in short, I think the Bulls lose in the finals in 1995. Jordan also doesn't win a league MVP this season, since voter fatigue would re-enter the situation, and David Robinson would still be a strong candidate as the leader of the 62-win San Antonio Spurs.
Dang.
So now we assume that the 96, 97, and 98 season plays out exactly how it did before.
Okay, I don't know that you can assume that, because, again, wear and tear might have set in sooner if he didn't miss those 2 years and played baseball. You know what I'm saying? Ah, man, this is a tough thing, because also, with MVPs, if he wins that one, does voter fatigue set in for any of the 96 to 98? If he won MVP, I can't remember if he won MVP any of those years. I don't know if he can just make that assumption.
As MJ added yet another 3
But hey! Well, let's keep watching, let's see what else he said.
peat and several more MVP trophies. Now, as we all can recall, in reality, Jordan retired for a second time at the end of the 1998 season.
Yeah.
And the reason for this was because the Bulls general manager Jerry Krause fired Phil Jackson, regardless of the fact that he just led them to 3 straight titles. In Jordan's own words, he was unwilling to play for Chicago if they had any other coach other than Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
But if MJ didn't have this mindset and decided to stay for a chance at another ring without Jackson, how would that have played out?
Tell me.
Well, not terribly well, in my opinion. At this point, the age of the Bulls core was beginning to show, as MJ would be 36, Scottie Pippen would be 33, and then Dennis Rodman would have been 37. Also consider how the lack of Jackson's leadership on the bench and in the locker room would affect this team. Phil was instrumental in managing the egos of this squad, and managing the relationship between the players and the executives. All of this pressure and responsibility would have now fell on their rookie head coach, Tim Floyd, who was not suited to manage those players, especially in the case of Dennis Rodman, who in reality did have an epic fallout with the Lakers in the 1999 season. Even with all of these
I did not know Rodman was on the Lakers. What?
issues, there's still a chance that the Bulls make it to the NBA Finals in 1999, since the Eastern Conference was not all that strong that season, considering how the 8th-seeded New York Knicks was the team that ended up representing the East. But if the Bulls did make it to the Finals in 1999, I have a hard time seeing them as a tired and older squad without Jackson getting past a powerful San Antonio Spurs team, who were strongest where the Bulls were at their weakest, which was the painted area.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think the Bulls would have fallen way short of the championship in 1999. But it is Michael Jordan we're talking about, so you can never write him off completely. After the 98 to 99 season is where things get really weird and become basically impossible to predict.
Why do I feel like you can't make the assumption that he would have stayed on the Bulls? Like, why not have him sign with the Wizards earlier? You know what I'm saying? Like, switching teams earlier. I just don't think he would have stayed with the Bulls.
By that year, Rodman was a shell of his former self and would only play 12 games of the regular season before his retirement. Although Scottie Pippen was still competitive, he was reduced to a 12 points per game role player rather than a 20 points per game sidekick.
Scottie, what happened?
If Jordan was to remain with the Bulls for the 2000 and 2001 season, I think it's fair to assume that Jerry Krause would have tried to retool the team and make some major trades to give MJ a contending supporting cast. But given the age and the physical shape of the assets, I kind of doubt that he could have pulled that off. Plus, this was the era of the Shaq and Kobe dynasty, So there's no realistic way that we can expect the Bulls to compete with that Los Angeles three-peat squad.
Fair enough.
Then MJ does his couple seasons in Washington, and his career is all wrapped up in the summer of 2003. So at the end of Michael's career, if he had never retired, he would have had 7 championship rings instead of 6. He would have had 7 finals MVPs instead of 6, and he would have had 6 league MVPs instead of 5,
Dang.
tying him with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most in NBA history.
It's honestly appalling that MJ does not have the most MVPs in NBA history. I'm just gonna say it, dude.
He would also have a 7 out of 9 NBA Finals record, which certainly isn't as clean as 6-0, but it is more success overall. But what about his scoring records? Because that's a lot more time in the NBA.
Yeah.
Well, in reality, at the end of Jordan's career, he had a grand total of 32,292 points.
Where would we have been?
Which currently has him in the 5th spot on the NBA's all-time scoring list. So let's get started by trying to estimate what Jordan would average in his first 2 seasons after his retirement. First, we need to subtract Jordan's 457 points in his 1995 season from his grand total, since he will instead be playing in the entire season.
Big brain.
Well, in the 4 years that Michael Jordan was playing in the triangle offense leading up to his first retirement, he was averaging 2,569
Dang.
points per season.
Oh my gosh.
Considering his age at the time, I think it's fair to assume that MJ would have maintained this pace in 1994 and in 1995, which means that we need to add 5,138 points to his career total. That gives him 36,973.
That passes Malone, right?
Now we need to add the 99, 2000, and 2001 season. In his 3 seasons leading up to 1999, Jordan was playing all 82 games, while his points per game averages continued to decrease by just under 1 point per season.
Okay.
If we assumed that this trend would continue and adjust for his lockout-shortened 1999 season,
big brain
then he
again.
would have theoretically scored another 5,728 points over that 3-season stretch,
Crazy.
which now brings his grand total to 42,701 points.
Whoa.
This would make him the all-time leading scorer ahead of LeBron James, although LeBron could still potentially catch Jordan
Wait.
ahead of LeBron.
42,701. When was this video? 1 year ago. LeBron all-time points. Where is he at now? Oh, he's at 43. GG's, man. It still would have got passed up.
LeBron James.
But
Although
him passing Jordan instead of passing Kareem would have been way more iconic, I feel like.
LeBron could still potentially catch Jordan, depending on how long he's willing to play. When you consider the fact that MJ played 3 seasons in college, while LeBron entered the NBA straight out of high school,
True.
it really gives you some perspective on just how insane Jordan's scoring actually was.
Yeah, it would have taken Braun, I guess, 3 more seasons to pass him up. Or 4 more, 3 or 4.
So at the end of the day, 7 championships, 7 finals MVPs, 6 league MVPs, 11 first team all-defensive selections, the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and most people would be calling him the GOAT. So I guess not much really changes on that front.
Sure.
So what do you guys think? How would Jordan's career have played out if he had only retired once?
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below.
I hesitate to believe that had he not retired, he would have stayed as healthy as he did for the second three-peat. Because I think that break from basketball definitely helped his body reset a little bit. But I could be wrong, man. The man was extremely durable. So, I don't know, dude. He might be right. He may have won 7. Or maybe in 98, they don't get that one. He doesn't get the MVP regular season or the finals MVP. Because maybe his body's breaking down at that point. Because that's a lot of basketball, dude. That's a lot of basketball. But either way, great video by Johnny. Really makes you think. I love what ifs. Because obviously you're never going to get the right answer out of it. But it's cool to think about what would have happened in these scenarios. So thanks everybody for watching. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Would he have won 7 championships? Do you think his body would have fallen apart? Maybe in 98, 97? I don't know. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Hope y'all have a great day, night, whatever time of day it is for you. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Doses!